Thank you all for being here. My name is Mike Reinig, this is John Uchiyama, this is Connor Horrigan, and Sarah Schell, and we will be presenting our idea for the Advanced Time Management application. So we're all familiar with the Google Apps calendar, the Microsoft Office Outlook calendar, those type of calendars. And these calendars allow you to do the very simple task of you have a fixed time event, a start time, end time, and that's it. You know, the fancy ones will give you a reminder, might tell you the traffic conditions, tell you when to leave, whatever, but that's it. Our lives just aren't these fixed time constraints. We have free time, we need to sleep, we have family time, we have personal projects, we have all these other things. But we are more fixated on the fixed times events. But these other events need to be scheduled in, if you will. So with all these extra things, this leads to procrastination, overcommitment, and things like that. And those, when you overcommit, it leads to health problems, performance, and psychological issues such as anxiety, depression, those sort of things. So really, what would be great is if you could schedule those long-term projects within your events. And that's really the problem that we're trying to solve here. There are applications out there that allow you to, for example, create a project with, in a Scrum-like fashion where you have your milestones and your tasks. We want to mimic that as well, and then schedule those tasks within the events. However, though, you can do that with just your Google Apps or your Microsoft Outlook calendar. You have 20 so subtasks of your milestones, and you just pick times or whatever and how long you want to work on them. But that can get really cumbersome, especially if something comes up. So really, where our app would stand out is to come up with an algorithmic approach to allow the person to say, here's the tasks that I need to schedule within my events, and the software does it for you. John's going to now talk about how we're going to approach this problem.
Okay, so we have the 4 parameters: duration, deadline, priority, and importance. And these are input for scheduling algorithms, and all these scheduling algorithms are found in operations research and in combinatorial optimization problems in literature. And with these scheduling algorithms, we'll be taking these inputs and ordering tasks within a schedule to create views on an enhanced calendar in a web application and an Android application. And these should make the schedules very clear.
And not only did we research scheduling algorithms, but we also researched motivation, productivity, and time management to help us create those 4 parameters and ideas for the scheduling algorithms. So we found these to stand out in the studies that we researched, and people love checklists. So we're going to implement a checkbox next to every task on our user interface so they can actually check off the item and feel more productive. And goal setting and prioritizing tasks were both shown to be effective ways to increase your productivity. And then keeping all your tasks in one place will increase productivity, because you may have a to-do list at home, or you may have a to-do list for your schoolwork and your job, but having them all in one place, we can create a more effective schedule. And to decrease procrastination, we saw that planning incremental deadlines will help motivate people to get their long-term projects done. So that's why we're implementing milestones and tasks and allowing the user to set a deadline to those as just like they can for a long-term project. And lastly, we researched human time perception, and it was shown that humans do a poor job at predicting the length that it'll take them to complete a task. So we're going to have a reflection process where they can realize maybe they predicted too much time or not enough time, and they can change the duration parameter.
So in order to get this project done, we'll be doing using Agile Scrum as our project development methodology. I am the Scrum Master, and we plan on doing 14 one-week sprints, starting off with a sprint kickoff meeting, a sprint retrospective, and then for each week we'll be doing moving items from the product backlog to the sprint backlog. And throughout each sprint and throughout the process, we'll be trimming the backlog so the best items get on each sprint, and we don't waste our time with things we planned to have before that aren't worth the time now. And in order to keep our quality up, we'll be using test-driven development. So that means at the time that we're at the code, we'll be writing tests so that quality stays up as we are best to understand the code.
Okay, and with our project, we plan on having 3 release windows. So in the first release, we want just like a regular calendar where you can just put in like events and have different views. With release 2, that's when we get the real meat of the project with the scheduling algorithms and the different milestones and tasks. And then with release 3, that's when we implement reflection, which we'll touch on, and user testing. So, like I said, with release 1, put a traditional calendar, have the 3 main views of daily, weekly, monthly, and then you'll be able to schedule just like your static events that have the set time and date, and then you can also put reminders. So that's stuff that's like you want to get done but doesn't have a set time. So like maybe like laundry or do the dishes or something.
Release 2 has 2 phases, the UI and then the main algorithms that we discussed. In the UI portion, we'll allow the user to create projects, milestones, and tasks. And then we're also going to be implementing the categorization of times. And what that is essentially bins of time slots where, okay, certain projects that are work-related can only be scheduled within your work bin. Same thing if you have a personal project, those can only be scheduled within your work bin. Events, however, don't have this restriction, but tasks will when our algorithm goes to incorporate the two.
So in release 2, all of the algorithms are going to be showing in the web calendars, and the first stage of the algorithms is going to plan the tasks. So there's a precedence relationship between tasks, and that's in the planning stage those get sought out. And in the scheduling stage, we deal with the temporal aspects of how they actually occur in the time aspect of the schedule. So there are two strategies to that. It was using simple algorithms and more advanced algorithms. One is using like heuristics with shortest job first, and another one we'll be implementing is one with genetic algorithms, which is more stochastic and random.
And the last release will implement the reflection process, so a user will be able to view their projects and the milestones and tasks, and whether or not some tasks are completed or not. And here they can write a journal entry reflecting on how well they did, and here we're hoping is where they can realize if they predicted too long of time for a task or too short. And they can also realize if they've been procrastinating or not, or their amount of accomplishments that they've made. And they can also update their tasks if they need to change any parameters. Here we'll have time for user testing also, and hopefully get feedback in time to make the changes by the end of the semester.
Okay, so the technologies that we're going to be using, the main like core of the project is going to be coded in Node.js. And then obviously since we're doing some Android development, we're going to be doing Android. And then for the calendar views, we are not sure which one we're going to use yet, but both of these, full calendar and DHTMLX scheduler, are JavaScript libraries that helped with build the calendars. And then for our database, we're going to use MySQL.
Our goals for this project are twofold. First of all, project feasibility, and assuming that's accomplished, application effectiveness.
So through our research, in a project hopes to meet the constraints of the scheduling tasks, and meeting the constraints whittles down the possible solutions, and that'll show the user, okay, maybe what are the possible schedules they can choose from, and then we maximize the objectives. So these are the things that these are the attributes that should be sought after but not always can be, and once the task is kind of sorted in attribute order, a user can then comprehend their schedule and choose or have the algorithm suggest the best schedule for them.
So John talked about our research goals, but the overall application goals is to make the user's life easier. And if we can meet the constraints he talked about, then we can increase productivity and decrease procrastination and hopefully reduce the stress of our users. And if they can have a schedule that contains their work projects or school projects with their home and personal projects, then they'll lead a more balanced life. And hopefully have time for free time.
That's it. Thank you very much.